So why have I gone from drift to Sony? Well, let's go through the history first. So wifey bought my first ever Drift Ghost HD, Drift HD Ghost I think it's actually called, in 2013 for my birthday. And I started filming our rides and really started enjoying it, started enjoying the editing and got into the whole thing. So that's the first camera I ever got. It's the only one that still basically works. I mean, the USB went on it, it's always the first thing to go on all the cameras. I did work out a solution to help them not go so quick, which would make them last maybe a year, but eventually they just do go, they're too weak. Now part of the thing was about why I chose drift was because it had a rotatable lens, it had a low profile, you could mount it anywhere and rotate the lens to level. It also had a separate mic input, which makes a lot of sense, and I liked a lot of what it did. But back then it was the best as far as I was concerned. So I got a second one for wifey when we were doing our dual vlogs, etc. I think it was the second one that the USB broke really quickly. And, you know, Drift said, send it back to us, we'll replace it. Now, I will add in here that Drift's customer service to me has always been excellent, and it's not like I'm a massive channel or anything, it's not like, you know, they're doing it because of that. I just, well, partly I think it's to do with the way I treat people in support, is you have courtesy, you're polite, even if you're pissed off you can actually say that in a way that's not attacking them but attacking the product. And anyway, as such I always get a good reaction from people. Anyway, so they replaced this first one for me, it actually sent me a Drift Ghost S, it was actually the next model up. I was quite pleased with that. And I pretty soon found that the Drift Ghost S had a lot of glitches that the previous model didn't have. You know, it would stop filming, you had to really nurse it. We finally found ways around it, like the drift users around the world found ways around it. You had to start the thing up and wait 10 seconds before you hit another button, otherwise it would just go and freeze up. If you stopped filming, like press stop, you had to wait 10 seconds before you press start again, things like that. So, you know, I managed to nurse that through, but too often it lost footage on me, you know, that I was relying on for part of a video or a vlog. All the same, I got another one. Eventually the first one just completely carked it. The second one, the USB went, like all of them. And it still has the glitches, and it's still running now in its to its merit. It's running now on the back of the bike. It actually, about 4 years ago, fell off the top of the top box when I was on wifey's bike going over Mount Tamborine. The screen is no longer usable, but it still films, and I still use it to this day. So, you know, well done there. But I can't run it on power. Part of the reason I want the USB is to run the camera on power. When I'm on a big trip, I'll film all day on at least 2 cameras, and then chuck out the footage I don't want later. My attitude is, it's easy to chuck out footage you don't want. You cannot create footage you wish you had if you weren't filming. So that's why I film all day. So running the camera on either an external power pack or the bike power was ideal. But as soon as the USB breaks down, that's no longer good. So anyway, I was looking at an upgrade and decided to go for the Drift 4K. One big disappointment with the Drift 4K is they decided to go with the GoPro way with the mic input and make it share the USB, and I knew immediately that meant when that USB stopped working, so would the microphone, the external microphone. And yes, that's what happened. But to start with, yep, I used it quite a bit. I had so many glitches with it, way more glitches than even the Ghost S. So I got back in touch with Drift. They actually spent a couple of months sending back and forward, asking me to test it on these different settings, blah blah blah. Basically it would not keep working if you had stabilization on, was one of the main problems. And it also just randomly would stop filming and stuff like that. And so it did lose me a lot of stuff that I really wanted in my videos. But they even tried sending me a patch that I loaded up onto it. That did help a little bit, but it still had the same problems, so I wasn't that happy. So they sent me a replacement for that. You know, there's customer service again. They sent me another replacement, my second Drift 4K, and it almost immediately the USB stopped working. It's a pain in the ass. So I can't charge it on the run. Not being able to charge it through the USB has a second problem with the 4K, because it has its removable battery, but it also has an internal battery. So the internal battery keeps its memory and keeps it actually working fairly well. So if you can't charge it through the USB, you can only charge the external battery through a separate charger. That means the internal battery just dies, so it becomes more and more useful. So that particular Drift Ghost 4K, every time I start it up now, I have 5 or 10 minutes of problems. I have to reset it to factory condition, get it all going again. A total pain in the ass. So much so that I probably won't use the Drift 4Ks much anymore. So, you know, that all led me to looking at an alternative. There is no alternative that will run on power all day and have an external mic. And I decided, after my experience with the 4K, an external mic was essential, so that narrowed it down to the Sony that I have now. Main problem with that, from my point of view, is you can't charge it and film at the same time. So I bought 3 spare batteries, a double charger and a single charger, and I can recharge the batteries while I'm rolling. I just have to stop and change batteries over, which is pretty inconvenient compared to just running it on power all day. But it is a much better camera. The stabilization is superb. The lens is so much better. Like what I noticed with all the drifts over the years, oh, I can pay attention, David. What I noticed with all the drifts over the years was the wide-angle lens made everything look slower. Now, with the, what is it, a Zeiss lens they have on this Sony, they've got the same wide-angle ability, but it actually helps make the footage look at the right speed, or possibly even a little faster. So, you know, the big improvement in the lens. I've only used it a few times, so far so good, but I did a lot of reading up of other people who've used them, what they thought of them. And you know, I knew what I was getting into with the later drifts, because on the forums people are already complaining quite a bit about the glitches. So yeah, there you go. That's my history of drift and why I've changed to Sony. And gradually those drifts will just disappear. I don't know. I like having lots of cameras and different angles and the ability to do different shooting. It may be that this new Sony is so good I might not need so much of that. We'll see. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. I hope you're going to enjoy some of the new stuff on the Sony. And yeah, stay safe out there in this crazy world. Cheers, everybody.